is Storytime with Nova. The book for today is Score 1 for the Sloths. Written by Helen Lester, illustrated by Lynn Munsinger. Score 1 for the Sloths. Written by Helen Lester, illustrated by Lynn Munsinger.
Ho-dee-hum! It was another day at Sleepy Valley Sloth School, and all the sloths were just hanging around. Once in a while, the teacher would remember his job and wake up with a lesson. "All right now," he would drawl. "Everybody yawn." Or, "Keep those snores coming." Or, "All together, students, let's roll over." Most of the time, though, the class just slept. It was a sloth thing. They were content in their slothfulness. Occasionally, the principal would drop in and say with a chortle, "Don't mean to wake you, but I've never in my life seen such a lazy bunch of louts. Keep up the good whatever." And the sloths would smile in their slumber. The only movement of the day came at lunch hour. Actually, it was lunch 3 hours, when the sloths would amble around the slothateria, taking a berry at a time, slowly chewing each one, ever so carefully. After all that exertion, it was nap time again. Then the students were off to study hall, and then it was time for recess. The dismissal bell rang at 3 o'clock sharp each day, but it was dusk before the sloths left school, because no one wanted to get up to open the door. "Do I have to?" moaned one. "I did it last time," yawned another. "My leg hurts," mumbled a third. So everyone was happy to go back to sleep until 6 o'clock, when the custodian swept them out and they rolled home. One day, a new sloth came to school. She had just moved to the area, and her name was Sparky. Sparky was perky. She was full of life and energy and vim and vigor and vitality. She was a mover and a shaker and a go-getter, and by mid-morning she was driving the other sloths crazy. "Let's read a story! Hey, we could use a little music! Want to build a castle? Anyone for math? How about some poetry?" A lazy sloth shook Sparky off, nudged her with their elbows, and shoved her away with their toes. So Sparky sat in a corner, fidgeting on her first day of school, feeling very unwelcome. "What a bunch of paws!" she sighed to herself. Then she looked up, and there was a real boar at the door with a clipboard. From its outfit, it was clear that it was a wild boar. The boar announced, "I am an official representative of SOS. That's the Society for Organizing Sameness. Wait till you hear what we know about you. It says here in my report that Sleepy Valley Sloth School is a disgrace to the entire mammal district." The boar was getting wound up now and began pacing wildly, shaking trees, whacking some sloths with the clipboard, and poking others with a pencil until everyone was awake. "Want to know your scores?" Without waiting for an answer, the wild boar boomed on. "Reading, dreadful. Music, the absolute worst. Block building, zilcho. Math, forget it. Poetry, off, below, and way under the chart." "Thus, I am here from SOS to close this school." The sloths gasped. Their school, their happy, peaceful, slothful school, They had to do something, but they weren't doers. They'd never done anything. Only one sloth could help them now. The mover, the shaker, the go-getter. All eyes turned with hope to Sparky. Sparky addressed the wild boar.
You mentioned reading. Reading, of course.
She passed out the books, and the sloths, being unsure of what books were, sandwiches, began munching.
Reading,
whispered Sparky.
not eating.
She laid a book over each sloth. The sloths looked like they were reading.
Music?
Sparky whipped her violin out of her knapsack and played Flight of the Bumblebee, while the other sloths snored. Zzz. Very realistic. Block building. The sloths were well past their nap time, but they threw themselves into the task. Occasionally, a sloth in need of a quick snooze would get sandwiched, but that made the tower all the higher. By now the sloths were thoroughly exhausted. Sparky pressed on.
Math! What's 2 plus 2?
The answer came in a groan. 4. Get it. Luckily, the wild boar heard only the 4 and not the get it, so he didn't get it.
And the last subject you mentioned, said Sparky, was poetry, off, below, and way under the chart. If you please, we'll recite The Way of the Sloth.
Of course, all sloths everywhere had been brought up with this poem. They'd known it since they were babies. They could recite it in their sleep, so they did.
The way of the sloth. The way of the sloth is gentle and kind. It hangs from the tree with nothing in mind. It doesn't make faces or throw fits or holler. It never gets heated under the collar. It's surely no bother, that's easy to see. It just hangs around, contented to be.
That, stated the wild boar, was impressive. Most impressive. Some nitwit must have confused your school with another. Sleepy Valley Sloth School is a credit to the entire Mountain District. And off stalked the wild boar with the clipboard. And everyone, especially Sparky, settled in for a peaceful, well-deserved, and very long nap. The end.